Staph infections.
Exactly. So
you'll be able to stop it in its tracks before it gets systemic.
Right. Spray this stuff on a cruise line for the virus, norovirus. Even if it turns out to be that safe, why not just wipe down schools?
Oh, because I always worry about the negative aspect. Like, what's going to happen? Like, what's going to be the blowback, right? Like, antibiotics is what's created medicine-resistant antibiotic staph infections, right?
Right. Your mind always jumps to the worst possible scenario.
That's me, bro.
Love it. We'd make a good team. So I'm the
like
optimist.
A buddy cop movie?
Yeah, let's do it. So we've tested, does it induce antibiotic resistance? And so far, it's negative.
Okay, interesting.
Oh, another thing I'll tell you. So I work with a company that detects organisms. So we want to detect if there's another virus coming across the planet. So how do you do that quickly? And how do you do it if you don't know what you're looking for? So we can take a drop of blood or a swab off a table, and we can see all the organisms that are there. We can do your microbiome, but that's easy. We can do so a drop of blood will tell you all the bacteria and viruses in there, and it'll tell you how to kill it, which is great for healthcare because right now microbiology labs, I've worked in one. I used to swab urine and poop on plates. It was very glamorous. That's how it's still done. That's 19th century, early 20th century technology. Grow it on a plate, wait a few days, see what grows. But that's useless for diseases like viruses and Lyme disease. Lyme disease, the one from ticks in your spine. My daughter got Lyme disease, and she was really sick. She was losing her eyesight. It was serious. It got into her brain, and the hospital wouldn't give her the antibiotic because the tests weren't quick enough, and they wouldn't give her the antibiotic until the tests were positive for insurance reasons. And I said, just give me the DNA of my daughter, the spinal fluid. I'll test it. They wouldn't do that. So I was furious. So I spun out a company out of my lab with some very smart bioinformaticians, mathematicians, software engineers. We built supercomputers to be able to do this. Teamed up with a guy in Stanford. My friend, I mentioned him, Carlos Bustamante. He's the guy that did, maybe I shouldn't, but he did a famous person's genome recently. He's been trained on mummies, and he did Kennewick Man. And so this technology can be teamed up with what I've done to be able to get rid of all the human DNA out of a blood sample, leave the viruses, leave the bacteria, and then run that through a supercomputer, all the DNA, and tell you within probably seconds, eventually, what it is. So my daughter would have a diagnosis within, eventually it'll be just 10 minutes instead of waiting a week.
Wow. Lyme disease is terrifying. There are so many people that are infected with it, and I know personally maybe 10 people that have it and a couple that have had significant issues with it that have lasted for years. I know a guy who was hospitalized for a full year on it.
It's really bad, and it can hide as well. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And it wrecks joints. And a lot of countries actually deny that they have Lyme disease. Australia's a good example. People are getting what seems to be Lyme disease, and no one knows if it is or not. Give those samples to us. We'll tell you what's in there.
Well, it seems to be very difficult with certain doctors for them to tell if they don't see that bullseye infection.
Exactly. So our daughter, Natalie, our middle daughter, she didn't have a bullseye. She had nothing. The first thing we knew...
Explain the bullseye to people.
Oh, so it's inflammation around the bite of the tick.
Right.
And
so there's the actual bite, and then there's a circle on the outside of it. And for whatever reason, this occurs with Lyme disease, but oftentimes goes away quickly. So if you bring a person in and they have the Lyme disease, but they don't have that bullseye anymore, which is what happened to my friend Steve's son, he tried to tell them that it was Lyme disease. The doctors were incredulous. They didn't believe him. And it took till the kid had Bell's palsy in his face.
Exactly. That's what happened in our family. It's crazy. And so I was bitten by a tick last year, right behind the knee, and it didn't form a bullseye. Maybe I didn't give it time, but it definitely was a very painful thing. I could tell that there was something going on. It was really itchy. And I went to the pharmacy and I said, can I have the antibiotic? It's probably costs a few dollars for the antibiotic. And they said, no, we won't give it to you till we see a bullseye. And you need to bring the tick in. Well, I didn't bring the tick with me. So again, I'm the doctors' and nurses' worst nightmare. I wouldn't leave until they gave me the antibiotic. And I'm glad because I don't want to wait
Did
a
they
week.
eventually give it to you?
They did. I wasn't going to leave until I got it. But I don't want to wait a week. I'm starting to lose my.
Did you get
my
upset
sight.
with them? You say, "Listen, you dumb motherfuckers. I'm super smart. I work with genes."
No, not that occasion. It's tempting. You can always say, "Hey, I'm a professor at Harvard," and then they probably just really kick you out.
Yeah. What do you say? I mean, how long did it take before they listened to you?
So I went through. I started spouting biology so that they knew that I knew something about it. It was about 15 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad. Thank God you knew what to say.
I did.
I'd be there for days. Like, bro, trust me.
Right. Let me draw you a picture of the tick.
Yeah, I mean, I would just think they'd want to hand that stuff out quick with so many people getting it. It's so common. Yeah. I mean, we looked at a map recently on the podcast of Lyme disease infections across the East Coast. And the East Coast of the United States, obviously that's where you live, is just a hotbed. It's crazy. It's everywhere.
Well, it is. And I've got friends on Cape Cod where it's really prevalent.
Really bad.
So bad that they keep the antibiotic in their kitchen drawer.
Jesus. And if you catch it quick enough, does it stop it in its tracks?
Yeah.
So the real problem is when it gets into your bloodstream and you don't treat it long enough or quick enough.
Exactly. And so my daughter needed what's called a PICC line, which is delivery of the antibiotic straight into the heart.
Oh,
because they left it too long.
God, I'd want to kill them.
And she didn't have a ring of inflammation.
But you knew.
I didn't. I thought it was meningitis bacteria in the brain or something.
Oh,
or
God.
Leukemia was the other possibility.
Those dirty fucking bugs. What can be done to somehow or another eradicate those things?
Oh, so again, one of my friends, got a few friends here, she was working at MIT and she's developed a way using the CRISPR system to kill these, as you say, damn little fuckers. And so there is possibly going to be the first test of releasing a modified organism, the Lyme organism, to kill them off.
Wow. And that's going to cause some new superbug. It's going to kill everybody. It's going to be like that Brad Pitt movie, the zombie one, World War Z.
Might be, but on the other hand, we might all be saved from Lyme disease.
Yeah, I would like that. That would be great. Where did Lyme disease come from? There was some conspiracy theory website that was thinking that Lyme disease was some sort of a biological weapon.
That's probably bullshit.
I'm sure. But it came out, it was in Lyme, Connecticut, right? Wasn't that one of the first cases?
Yeah.
So that's close enough to Harvard, just to stayed away.
I thought you said Russians were behind it.
Oh, no, I said conspiracy theory. I didn't say it was Russians, but it was a biological weapon. It's just an awful thing. And now there's I'm sure you're aware of the Lone Star tick that gives people that alpha-gal disease, the one that makes you allergic to red meat. Mm-hmm. Which is, where was that before? It's crazy to see these things morphing.
Well, they're morphing, and there are a lot of bugs we don't know. Somebody just published a few days ago that they took surveys of the microbiome on the skin, mouth, gut, across the planet, different races, different foods, geography, and they have 100,000 different organisms living on humanity. And most of them are unknown. That's crazy, right?
Right. And all they have to do is just morph a little bit one way or the other way, and all of a sudden people are dropping like flies.
Yeah, and what's interesting is on the skin and in the gut of people in India is very different than what we have. And the different smells. They probably think we smell bad. But I know this because
they're wrong.
Yeah, right. Cause, I smell like Old Spice. But these wounds, they're actually, if you want to kill the bacteria in a wound, they're different in the wounds of people in India than they are over here in the US.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.